I'm Jason.
I'm Todd.
This is our little child Ziggy. Say hello, Ziggy.
Hi, Ziggy.
And we're the Glamping Guys. Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Glamping Guys. Man, I gotta tell you, this is the life. You know, we are just so enjoying our full-time lifestyle, and you know, we have gotten just so much more relaxed, so much more chill, and I gotta tell you, we have no regrets. We just celebrated our 4-week anniversary. Tomorrow, woohoo, we're finally moving next door into our permanent full-time site. They did not have it available for the month of April, so we had to wait until May the 1st, but it got pushed back about another week, so tomorrow is the day. In today's video, it's going to be a little boring for some of you, but I'm going to talk about one of the first RV projects that I did. We are on a private Facebook group for Grand Design RV owners. I have gotten so much amazing information off of this Facebook group. People post on it all the time. They post their positive, you know, fun adventures. They also post their not so fun adventures. And one thing that I was reading on a few of the posts is that whether you get a new fifth wheel or a used fifth wheel, you want to check the screws, because when you're towing this thing, the screws are going to get loose. We towed this fifth wheel only about 5 miles from the dealership, and after about a week, I decided to pull out my Phillips head screwdriver and start checking the screws. And I gotta tell you, it felt like I was checking over 1 million of them. I am amazed at all of the screws that they use on this RV, and I'm sure on all RVs. But I wanted to make sure that all the screws were tight, and for my own peace of mind, I also wanted to go around and caulk the heads of all the screws to prevent water intrusion, to also help with them from getting loose in the future. Now, I chose clear silicone. I know some people are like, don't use silicone. Then other people are like, oh, it's great because you can get it clear. Well, I know it gets dirty and I know it can yellow with age. So being the neat freak I am, I'll just pull the old silicone off and just put a new bead of clear silicone over the screws, because I would rather do that than have all of these, which I've heard, all of these like rusty streaks starting to go down the clear coat as the screws start to age. So by putting a little bead of silicone on them, it keeps them watertight, it keeps them from getting loose, and for me, it keeps them from creating rust and little rust streaks. I am not looking forward to the day when I've also been told that RVs do have a tendency where things are connected, like for example, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but for example, the posts that is attached to the fifth wheel that the awnings attached to, right up under those posts, you can start seeing little black streaks. But I found a really good product actually that really cleans them off, and I'll talk about that in a future video. So anyway, I'm going to take a quick drink. I'm actually drinking a orange dreamsicle. For any of you out there who are just starting to follow us, I've done quite a few cocktail recipes, and one of them I did for an orange dreamsicle. So anyway, going forward with our channel, I also just wanted to let everybody know that we have been enjoying this lifestyle so much that we have decided that we're not going to be posting videos on any set format. We were trying, you know, when we first started our channel, to post at least 1 or 2 videos a week. Well, we have so much going on right now, that's just not going to happen anymore. So we want to be able to enjoy sharing videos with all of you. We also want to enjoy creating the videos to share with all of you. So after today's video, we're just going to post whenever we feel like it, you know. So if some of you are, you know, like waiting every week for us to post a new video, you know, that might not happen. And, you know, I apologize in advance. Maybe we might lose a few subscribers because of that. But, you know, what can you do? We just want to enjoy our new life. And we're finding, you know, constantly having to have the camera out all the time and to constantly, you know, film. We're not really able to enjoy the experience as much as we want to because we're always having to focus on making a video. I hope that makes sense. But we are going to be posting videos. Don't worry, our channel's not going away. And I think we need to now talk a little bit about the screwing and the caulking that I did throughout this entire exterior of the fifth wheel, because like I said, I felt like I screwed over 1 million of them. But going forward, it's worth it. I'm taking care of the exterior maintenance on the fifth wheel, and we plan on taking really good care of Severus, because I can see maybe in about 5 years either trading up, or once we can get even more on the open road. Right now we're just gonna schedule about maybe 4 road trips a year because we still have to work. Most of you already know that. But I am going to, probably the next video I post is going to be showing all of the landscaping that we're going to be doing at our new little location. It's literally like just 20 feet away. But we have all of these plans and kind of our landscaping vision. So I'll probably post that video maybe in another 2 or 3 weeks. But I think in the meantime, we should get started and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so one of the things on the Grand Design Facebook group that I was reading about is right here. These little screws on the inside of the cargo door are not caulked and they can be a little bit loose. So I went in and just put a bead of clear caulking over all of these screws, because I guess the problem is that, you know, this rubber seal works great from keeping the water, you know, coming in through the door, but water will still kind of collect along the outer edge right here of the inside of the cargo door. And apparently water can pool in this area and then leak through the screw and come down from here onto the floor. So we've had maybe 3 really hard rains, and so far the floor's been completely dry. So whether that helped or not, I went ahead and did it to not take any chances. So all along the molding that you can see here, you can see, you know, they did a really good job, you know, caulking it with clear silicone up around the edges. But the one thing they did not caulk was the screws. Now, I've been told that behind here they have like this special type of sealant that they use behind the molding, and it's more decorative than anything, but this also is where the bottom of our floor on the inside is located. So again, you know, maybe it's overkill, but I just didn't want to take any chances. So I just put a little bead of caulking over all of the screws, and I went in and tightened them, and there were quite a few on the molding that definitely needed to be tightened. So over here on the slide out, this is the kitchen slide out, I did the same thing. And on all 3 of the slide outs, the strip of molding that's on the bottom and all the way up there at the top, the screws were all fairly loose. So I went in and tightened up all the screws, and again I just put a little bead of clear silicone over each screw to avoid rust and any chance of water getting inside. And then right here I did the same thing. I tightened up every screw that needed to, and then I put a little bead of caulking on top of each screw to help prevent rust. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the wheel well covers. I've seen actually quite a few videos regarding this, where basically all of these tiny little screws that screw this little plastic wheel well covering, they will get loose and people will start to lose the screws. And I've even heard that this could actually fall off. So I was doing some reading and some research, and what I decided to do was I just went in and I tightened every single screw that you can see here. But all of these screws actually protrude through the flashing right here. And so I forgot where I found out about it, but I decided not to caulk the outer heads of the screws here. I went in and I caulked the inside. Okay, so here we are behind the wheel well, and you can see the end of the screws that come through the flashing. I caulked the back of every screw, and this avoids the screw from ever getting loose and, you know, just coming out on its own. And then the front, because it's basically on plastic, I'm not concerned about any rust marks or anything like that because of it not being in contact with metal. Okay, so now we're coming up under the front of the fifth wheel, and you can see it has these screws, and I would say a few of these were actually loose as well. And I just put a little bit of caulking over the top of each one, and you know, it'll help it from, you know, getting loose on its own, as well as it'll help to keep that water tight and also prevent any rust discoloration. And then right down here on the front cargo hold, just like the pass-through, I just went along that inner lip and just tightened the screws that needed tightened, and just put a little bead of silicone on top of each screw head. Okay, and then here's the bedroom side, and I got a ladder and I did the same thing. I just went down each side on both sides, tightened any loose screws, and then just put a little bead of clear silicone caulking on the top of the head of each screw. Same with the molding on the top and the molding down here on the bottom. And over here is the other side of the pass-through. Same thing. I just went in and put a little bead of caulking on each screw just to help alleviate any possible water intrusion. And then this is the dining room slide area. Same thing, just went up and down each side. I know this video is starting to get very boring for you guys, isn't it? Well, I gotta tell you, it was very boring for me to do all this. And then I just went down each end of the molding here. This was just that aluminum flashing, so I didn't caulk any of these screws because it just goes through the other side, kind of like the wheel wells. And then I went down along that strip of molding. Now up here on the corners, I did put some extra caulking around each corner. You can see right down here, I went and put in some extra clear caulking down through here and caulked also the screws, because I noticed right down in here, they did not do too much caulking down in there. So I just wanted to put another layer just to be safe, because this is a good area where water can just sit here and kind of collect in that corner. And then right over here is the other corner. And again, you can see I just put another little bead of caulking right over there and around these seams. And then also just a little bit over the screws as well. And then here's the back of the first slide I showed you, and pretty much the same thing. But I just thought this would be a fun little video to show you guys. You know, I'm pretty sure some of you are like, yawn, this is kind of boring. And it is, but I think it's also a good thing to point out that you want to check all of your screws, because I was going crazy. Screwing and screwing and screwing. Okay, now my mind's going into the gutter. Haha. So I think at this point I am going to wrap up the video. So guys, remember, check your screws and check your caulking. Enough said. Bye, Severus. Until next time, guys. See ya. Bye.
Leave a comment to say hi. If you like us, please subscribe. And if you don't, our little fluffy dog will attack you.